welcome to Say It with Roz. I bet you're wondering why in the world is she wearing that hat today? That straw hat. Well, today I'm going to talk about gardening. Yes, gardening. Now, before you say, roll your eyes and say, lady, please, hear me out. Now, all of us are used to going to the grocery store and just getting whatever we need, for our meals, right? But I don't know if you've been paying attention lately. I know it's like that here where I am in some of the stores. Some of the shelves are empty sometimes, and sometimes it's hard to find certain things. So, and from what I understand, it's because there's a shortage of workers, like truckers to drive trucks, to move merchandise and things, from place to place, or people to unload ships, that come in with supplies. So it's kind of hard right now to keep things, on the shelf. And then I guess there's a shortage of grocery store workers. I know every time I go to the grocery store, there's only one or two checkouts open, other than the self-checkout. And if you're like me and you haven't gravitated towards the self-checkout yet, then you're stuck standing in long lines, waiting in long lines to get checked out. So there seems to be a shortage of everything right now. And in addition to that, prices are just going crazy, I mean, everything is going up. It's like every time I go to the grocery store, things have gone up, It's crazy, So anyway, what I want to talk about today is growing some of your own food. And specifically veggies, because that's all that I do is grow vegetables. I'm not out in the country, so I don't have any chickens or hogs or anything like that, But I do own my own home, and I do have a garden, a kitchen garden, small garden. I'm not farming or anything like that. But I do have a garden, and I've had a garden for quite a while, ever since I've been in this house. And but I just want to encourage everyone to if you don't do it already, because I know a lot of people are starting to grow, a lot of things for themselves these days. Because first of all, they realize that there's a shortage, and then a lot of times there are problems with certain things, salmonella, salmonella, I believe I'm pronouncing that right, or other things, they have these recalls, all of the time. And then too, some people are concerned about the pesticides, that are used on, some of the things, that the farmers grow, and organic food is even higher, than regular food, So a lot of people are resorting to growing certain things for themselves, like tomatoes. In the summertime, tomatoes, cucumbers, corn, carrots, all kinds of vegetables, that okra. I know I can hardly ever find any decent okra in the grocery store. It's always old, brown, black looking, starting to look crappy, you know. So there's nothing like growing your own, It's you can't get it any fresher. So, but I am really wondering if somewhere along the line, down the road, that there might be a serious food shortage. I mean, I am just amazed at the amount of food that farmers must have to produce to feed all of us. I mean, really. It just the other day, I have some jalapeno pepper plants, and they're throwing out all of these jalapeno peppers, and I can't eat them fast enough. And I've given some away, but a lot of people don't like, the spicy. So, but anyway, so I bought a dehydrator, and I thought, what I'll do is I'll just dehydrate them, and that way I can save them, store them instead of letting them rot, So I picked a bunch of peppers, sliced them up thin, put them in the dehydrator, let them dry out, ground them up in my food processor. I ended up with less than 2 tablespoons of pepper flakes and powder, I would say it was probably about 1.5 tablespoons. So I'm just thinking, oh my God, look at the number of peppers that you would have to produce and grind just to get 1 jar of pepper flakes or pepper powder, I mean, we should really appreciate our farmers. I am telling you, they must be producing a ton of food. I mean, every second, to feed all of us. I mean, we take all of this stuff for granted, but I can see why they're doing all of these different things, to try to feed us, adding fillers, in things, and, and now they're producing lab meat, yuck, to feed people, I mean, pretty soon they might have to resort to those kinds of things, just to feed everyone. So I'm just saying, it would not hurt to learn how to grow some of your own food. It might mean life or death somewhere down the line, I mean, learn how to grow you a little patch of food, that you can actually sustain yourself on, I mean, a patch of greens, I mean, I love greens, mustards, turnips, collards, cabbage, all of that good stuff, If you got some greens and some cornbread, you can survive, I'm telling you, man. And hopefully you'll have a little, bacon or something to throw off in there, So, of course, vegans won't need that, But you see what I'm saying? I think it's just good sense to know how to grow something, and then you can start preserving your seed, getting you a little seed inventory. So you'll always have some seed, because let me tell you, seed are not cheap anymore. I have been gardening for quite a while, and you don't get 25, 50 cents, not even 99-cent seed anymore. Almost every pack of seed these days is $2 or $3, So, and you can harvest a lot of seed from some of the things that you grow in the grocery store. I actually started a bell pepper plant this summer from seed that I got from a bell pepper that I bought from the grocery store. And it actually produced quite a few bell peppers. Okay? So, I'm just saying, if you know how to grow some things, then even if there's a shortage of those things in the grocery store, you won't be bothered by that, because you will have your own. Yes. Yes, indeed. Now, if you are not already gardening, you don't have to go out and buy a whole lot of stuff. You can grow almost anything in a container. And they even have these nice grow bags these days, that you can use. You can move around, if you have to move them, to certain spots to get the right sun. You can do that easily with these grow bags. And if you are just starting, if you say, okay, I'm going to start learning how to grow things, just start with one thing. If you love tomatoes, buy you 1 or 2 tomato plants. Get you a nice sized pot to put the plants in, and read up on those the plants that you've chosen to grow. There is a ton of information on the internet about anything that you want to grow, and YouTube is just full of videos from experts about how to grow everything. So start with one thing, do a little research, make sure you've got everything that plant needs, and watch it grow. Tend to it, and it will reward you with beautiful, tasty fruit that is better than any you will ever find in the grocery store. Okay? If you love cucumbers, get you a cucumber plant. Grow you some cucumbers. Okay? If you like okra, you can grow okra in a pot. You won't need many plants if your family is small and you live in an apartment or a small house. If you don't want to dig up your yard, you can get you some big grow bags or a big container. The containers, nice containers, are quite expensive, but they're worth having, But you want a pretty nice size one to grow your okra in, If it's just a family of 1, 2, 3, 4, you can probably just have about 3 okra plants, and it will supply you with fresh okra all summer long. When winter comes, the okra says, see ya. But you can get enough, depending on how many plants you plant, to store some in the freezer, okay? You can do that to get you through the winter. It just depends on how far you want to go, okay? You can start in pots like that. Or if you have a home and you have an area in your yard, you know, that you don't mind creating a garden area in, then prepare that area and plant you a garden in the ground. It can be done. Now, I have to warn you, once you start, you're going to be addicted. You might start out growing tomatoes, but then you're going to add cucumbers, okra, squash, a few herbs. That's how it goes. But I tell you, it's wonderful. It is medicine for the soul, I'm telling you. And you get nourishment for your body. But I am talking this way from a practical manner. Okay? I am saying be prepared for anything. You don't know. You just don't know what the future could bring. We take a lot for granted. We take a lot for granted, you know, that we're always going to have things at our demand, you know. If we want an apple, we just go and buy an apple. If we want, you know, to cook some collards, you know, for Sunday dinner, we just go to the grocery store and pick up a few bunches of collards. But what if that option is not always there? And another advantage of having a garden, you know, of growing things yourself, is that you can leave them in the garden until you're ready to eat them. They're always fresh. You don't have to worry about things going bad, you know. They're fresh. I just want you to consider it. Just consider it. Just look around. If things are happening with you the way they're happening here with us, you know, in Texas, in this town, it gives you some food for thought, you know. I mean, what if I couldn't find this anymore, you know? I guess we just do without. So, anyway, and then, you know, a lot of people are going to be turned off by this lab meat, you know, that they're producing. I'm not saying, I don't know, you know, I'm just a little leery of eating some meat that was created in the lab. And then I don't like to just buy any old meat, you know. I'm very particular about where I get my meat from. And it's a little more expensive, and things are getting even more expensive. So, you know, who knows, we might all have to end up being vegetarians or vegans even, you know. So, it's just best, in my opinion, to learn how to grow something. And it could very well save your life one day. Even if you don't decide to start growing anything right now, I would advise that you start saving seed, you know, like seed that, you know, when you buy bell peppers, boy, there are a ton of seeds in one pepper. You could get enough seed out of one pepper, you know. So, you might want to just start saving seed now anyway. You never know when you might have to plant them. You know, I always break the seeds out, you know, and I put them in a little dish and I let them dry out, you know, for a day or two. Make sure they're really dry, and then I put them in a little seed storage bag. I bought some from Amazon. I ordered not too long ago, you know, and you can put those seeds in there and seal them up and store them away, you know, just in case you do decide, and you won't have to go out and spend $3 for some bell pepper seeds, you know. Same thing with watermelon seeds. Of course, you can hardly find a seeded watermelon these days, but if you do, save those black seeds, you know, let them dry out and put them in a little packet and save them. You never know when you might grow some watermelons, you know. Same thing with tomato seeds. You know, you can get those tomato seeds out of that tomato, let them dry, put them in a packet. I mean, come on. There might even be a day when you can't even find seed. I'm telling you, more and more people are gardening these days, and sometimes it's hard to find, you know, certain gardening things. You know, especially around the beginning, you know, after the seasons start. Like right now, I went to Home Depot, was it yesterday or day before yesterday, and they didn't have any Miracle-Gro soil, potting soil. They had garden soil, you know. I mean, the soil area was practically empty. That's because people bought the soil. People are starting to grow their own stuff because it's getting so expensive. Yes. And then a lot of vegetables, they don't last very long after you get them home. You don't know how old they were when you bought them. But if you grow your own, you know exactly what's going on. You know it's fresh. So come on, people. Grow something. You won't regret it. You'll thank me later for encouraging you to grow something. So until next time, over